Hey, what's going on, guys? Larry with Packmaster Dog Training here. Just got off the phone with a friend of mine who's got a new puppy and is having some trouble with the puppy getting excited and peeing in the crate or on the floor when they go to get the dog out to put the leash on. Super common. This happens a lot. Let me give you just a couple of things that you may be able to do to overcome that, because I've been through that also. For the most part, if that becomes an issue, one thing that will help and make it a little easier is put the crate near a door where you take the dog out. So let's say you take the dog out through the kitchen, through the back door into the yard. Keep the crate really close to the door. So when you go to the dog, don't address the dog, don't say anything, don't make any eye contact, don't pay attention to the dog. Open the door to the yard first. Okay, open the door to the yard first. Then go to the crate and very quietly open the crate and walk right outside. Try to get the dog to follow you. All right, when the dog goes outside, goes to the bathroom, make sure you reward that behavior. See, this takes away that excitement of you going down to pick the dog up or to put a leash on the dog or to touch the dog. And right there, that alone will usually help fairly quickly, if not right away. Okay, so don't give the dog a lot of access to have to travel to the house, and also you don't have to pick up the dog or put a leash on. That's one thing. The most effective method I've ever used for this, and I kind of did it by accident because I had to find something. I don't know if you guys remember Bubba, the little Cairn Terrier I had, was a fear case a few years ago. He was the worst. That dog would pee puddles as soon as you went to touch him or put a leash on him. It was horrible. It was very frustrating, and there was nothing I could do at first to combat that. So what I did with Bubba was wearing a harness when he came to me. Now, normally I don't like harnesses, but in this case, it was very beneficial. So what I did with Bubba is when I would go towards his crate, okay, I would have a little handful of the best treats I can find, something the dog really liked, all right? So I had a handful of the treats in my hand. Before I opened the crate, okay, he would do all the peeing when I'd go to touch him. He'd pee a lot. All right, if I tried to put a leash on him, and I had to put a leash on him, he would pee everywhere. So I would go into the room where his crate was. I would place the handful of treats close enough to where he could see it and smell it. And then I would open his crate very gently, and he'd come out and go right to the food. Once he put his head down on the food, that's when I would quietly, without touching him, without my opposite hand the leash was in, I would take the clip of the leash, open it up, and gently put it on the harness. This way, you know, the harness has a clip on the top that you could hook the leash to it without really disturbing him. So as soon as I started doing that, that problem was done. He never did it again, and he was about the worst peer I ever had. So I've had several people over the years have this same problem and have asked me how to deal with it. And everyone that I give that to says it worked wonders. And it's very simple. Very simple, and it works fast. This way you don't have to talk to the dog. You don't have to touch the dog. You don't have to do anything with the dog, okay? So just give that a shot and see if that helps. But that's the best thing I could think of. But this is common. A lot of dogs do it. I think I spoke about Halo before, my German Shepherd puppy. He would do the same thing. If I went to put the leash on him, he would pee, and that drives me crazy. So with Halo, what I did was I'd go to him, I'd open the crate, and just walk away. Walk towards the door where we're going outside. I didn't put the leash on. I'd let him go outside and pee, and then I'd put the leash on. Okay, this way he gets used to me handling him and putting the leash on after he pees. Then it just becomes a habit. Now it's our routine, and that went away very quickly also. But the harness with the food on the ground, see, what you're doing with that is it gets the dog's mind off of what you're doing. The dog becomes focused on the food. The dog doesn't really care what you're doing at that point. And while the dog is preoccupied with the food on the ground, you gently slip the leash onto the dog, top of the harness. Very effective, I promise you. Give it a shot and let me know how it works for all those people suffering with dogs who pee when you go to touch them. Peace.